Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you to the 6th annual presentation of The Living Last Supper to benefit Hope House. Leonardo, the versatile genius of the Renaissance, was born in Vinci, Italy in 1452. As Vinci's most famous personality, he is known universally as Leonardo of Vinci. Even though he excelled as a sculptor, a scientist, an engineer, he is remembered primarily because of his two wonderful paintings, the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. It was in 1494, when Leonardo was 42 years of age, that he was commissioned by the Duke of Milan to decorate the dining room of the convent church of Santa Maria dei Grassi in Milan, Italy. This church was the favorite shrine of young Beatrice d'Este, whom the Duke had married 3 years earlier. As an appropriate theme for this dining room, or refectory, Leonardo chose the Last Supper. His painting was not intended as a faithful reproduction of the original scene as it had taken place in 1st century Israel, but as it might have taken place in 15th century Italy. In this picture, the artist experimented with tempera, a delicate water solvent paint which he placed directly on the dry wall of the refectory. He chose what he considered the most dramatic moment of the Last Supper, that moment just after the Lord had said, "One of you will betray me." Instantly, the 12 apostles became men of 12 different moods. The only composed person was Jesus himself. In the excitement, Judas overturned the container of salt, while Peter drew his knife. Some of the apostles stared at the Lord in utter amazement, while others looked at each other in stark disbelief. In this living dramatization of Leonardo's The Last Supper, the 12 apostles speak their minds to themselves, to each other, and to the Lord, in the light of the tragic words which they have just heard him speak. In only 2 days, the 8-day festival of Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread would begin. The high priests and religious scholars were looking for a way they could seize Jesus by stealth and kill him. They agreed that it should not be done during Passover week. "We don't want the crowds up in arms," they said. Jesus was at Bethany, a guest of Simon the leper. While he was eating dinner, a woman came up carrying a bottle of very expensive perfume. Opening the bottle, she poured it on his head. Some of the guests became furious among themselves. "That's criminal, a sheer waste. This perfume could have been sold for well over a year's wages and handed out to the poor." They swelled up in anger, nearly bursting with indignation over her. But Jesus said, "Let her alone. Why are you giving her a hard time? She has done something wonderfully significant for me. You will have the poor with you every day for the rest of your lives. Whenever you feel like it, you can do something for them. Not so with me. She did what she could. She pre-anointed my body for burial. And you can be sure that wherever in the whole world the message is preached, what she just did is going to be talked about admiringly." Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the cabal of the high priests, determined to betray him. They couldn't believe their ears and promised to pay him well. He started looking for just the right moment to hand him over. On the first of the days of unleavened bread, the day they prepare Passover sacrifice, his disciples asked him, "Where do you want us to go and make preparations so you can eat the Passover meal?" He directed 2 of his disciples, "Go into the city. A man carrying a water jug will meet you. Follow him. Ask the owner of whichever house he enters, 'The teacher wants to know, where is my guest room where I can eat the Passover meal with my disciples?' He will show you a spacious 2nd-story room, swept and ready. Prepare for us there." The disciples left, came to the city, found everything just as he had told them, and prepared the Passover meal. After sunset, he came with the 12. We enter just as Jesus is finishing washing their feet. As they were at the supper table eating, Jesus said,
I have something hard but important to say to you. One of you is going to turn me over to the conspirators. One who is eating here with me.
Stunned, they started asking, one after another, "It isn't me, is it? Is it I?"